Welcome to the online teaching session of Arihant English Medium School, Solapur for the academic year 2020-21. I am Fauzan H. Azhari, going to teach you Civics. My dear students, as we know, our body consists various parts. They are also known as organs. All the body parts and organs are very important. We cannot keep aside any one of them. If we are keeping aside it, then the body is incomplete. As all the body parts and organs are important for our body, in the same way, there are many organs of government institutions. There are various parts, and it is necessary for us to study them to understand them. So, today we will be learning the Union Executive. In the last chapter, we learned about the Union Legislature, which included the structure and functioning of the Parliament. In this chapter, we are going to study the Union Executive. So, last chapter was about Union Legislature, which included structure and functioning. And this chapter about the Union Executive, how to execute it. So, first point we will be learning is about structure of the Union government. The Union government means the central government. The Union government is made up of the following constituents. Yes, my dear students, Union government, that is central government of India, and it is made up of the following constituents. You know that the legislature, executive, and judiciary are the three important organs of the state, and they work for the welfare of people. In a parliamentary system, the executive is a part of the legislature and is responsible to the legislature. Yes, my dear students. So, all of us we know three important parts are there, three important organs are there: legislature, executive, and judiciary. These are the three organs of the state, and they work. Why they work? For the welfarement and betterment of citizens, people. In a parliamentary system, we have a parliamentary system. The executive is the part of legislature and it is responsible to the legislature. Yes, executive is a part of legislature and it is responsible for the same. When we learn about the executive, it is important for us to understand who are included in executive, what are the constitutional provisions relating to executive, and what is the process of policy making for public welfare. So now we are learning executive, so it is important for us to understand who are included in it, what are the different provisions in executive, and process of policy making. India's union executive comprises of the president, prime minister, and the council of ministers. Yes, my dear students, these are the three important factors which are included in union executive. India's union executive comprises of these three things: president, prime minister, and council of ministers. Now, first we will study about the president. According to the provisions in the Constitution of India, the President is the supreme head of the state. The office of the President has the highest honor and prestige, and it represents the Republic of India. So, when we talk about our country, the first citizen of the nation, the first citizen of the country is President, and he got the highest honor and prestige. All executive powers of the state are vested in the president by the constitution. So our state's executive power are vested in the president. The government carries out its functions in the name of president. So whatever government administers, its do the function, all these things are in the name of president. However, in reality, the prime minister and the council of ministers run the government. Yes, my dear students, though president is the first citizen of our country, he has got many executive power, but in reality, who is running the government? Prime minister and the council of ministers. All the function administration takes place of our state, of our country in the name of president, and in reality the government is run by prime minister and the council of ministers. Therefore, the president is the nominal and constitutional head, whereas the prime minister is the executive head. Yes, my dear students, president becomes nominal head and prime minister executive head. Now we will see how the election of president take place. The president is indirectly elected by the people of India. Yes, in India, president is elected indirectly because we have parliamentary form of government, and in the countries where presidential form of government is there, for example like USA, United States of America, there the president is elected directly by the people. But here in our country we have democratic form of government, so here president is elected indirectly. The common people do not vote in the election of the president. He is elected by directly elected representatives of the central and state legislature. So, after every 5 years, general elections are there of Lok Sabha. We elect the MPs, member of parliament, of our constituency and send him to parliament. So, these member plus our states, member of legislative assembly and member of legislative council of all the states, they elect the president. So the president of India is indirectly elected by the people. We elect the MPs, MLAs, MLCs, and they elect the president. He is elected by directly elected representatives of the central and state legislatures. The group of these parliamentarians and members of the state legislatures is known as electoral college. Yes, my dear students. And the president is elected by these elected member. So these elected members are known as electoral college. The tenure of the president is 5 years. The person contesting the presidential elections should be an Indian citizen whose age should be at least 35 years. The person elected to the position of president has to take an oath while accepting the post. So first of all, he should be a citizen of India, and secondly, he should have completed 35 years of age. Then finally, he has to take an oath for accepting the post. According to the oath, the president bears the responsibility of protecting the constitution and ensuring that the government runs as per the constitution. Yes. So when he takes the oath, he takes the responsibility. He will check, he will see whether our country running according to the constitution or no. It is his responsibility to keep a check that our government should run as per the constitution. The president governs in accordance with the advice given by prime minister and the council of ministers. Yes, my dear students. So just before, previously we have seen that president is the nominal head and prime minister is the executive head. So our president works in accordance with the advice of prime minister and the council of ministers. The responsibility of protecting the constitution is shouldered by the president. But if any act of president violates the constitution, then the parliament has the authority to remove the president. Yes, my dear students. Though it is his responsibility to check whether our country is running, whether our country is properly governing according to the constitution or no. But suppose if he himself violates any of the constitutional law, then the parliament has the right, the parliament has the authority to remove the president. This process is known as process of impeachment. Yes, my dear students, the process of removing president by the parliament, this process is known as process of impeachment, or it is also known as impeachment motion. Any one house can lay the charge of violation of the constitution, and the investigation of the charge is carried out by the other house. The resolution has to be passed by special two-third majority of both the houses of the parliament. So any of the house can start the proceedings if they feel, if they think that so and so constitutional law rule is violated by the president, then they can pass this motion, and in other house the investigation takes place, and after proven guilty, then the election happens in the parliament and it should be passed. That motion should be passed by two-third majority. Then impeachment will be done. Now we will see about the powers and functions of the president. The constitution has entrusted several powers and functions to the president. A few functions are enumerated as follows. So various functions are there. One by one we will look them. First, the president summons the meeting of the parliament, prorogues the session of the parliament, sends message to both the houses, dissolves the parliament after the tenure is over or even before the tenure gets over. So my dear students, the president calls upon the meeting of both the houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, checks over it whether they are functioning properly or no, sends messages to both the houses, then once their 5-year tenure is finished, he dissolves, and he can dissolve if you can say motion, no confidence motion is passed, he can dissolve the parliament before its tenure also. So this work is done by him. Next, bill passed by the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha must be signed by the president. Without his signature, the bill cannot become a law. So law making process we already saw in last chapter, how the law or bills are made. So bill is first passed from Lok Sabha, then it goes to Rajya Sabha. After that it goes to president, and if he signs, then only the bill will become a law. Without his signature, the bill will not become a law. Next, president appoints the prime minister and other ministers on the recommendation of prime minister. As we know, after general elections, the majority party which wins the seats, which is win in the Lok Sabha, so from that party only one member is elected as prime minister. So president has the right to elect him, and president elects other council of ministers and other ministers on the recommendation and advice of prime minister. Then after that, the president appoints the judges of the Supreme Court and the high courts. The president also appoints the governors of states, chief election commissioner, and other important officers. Yes, my dear students. So when we talk about the judge of Supreme Court and the judges of high courts, so president has the right to appoint them. He also appoints the governors of states. Yes, each state has one governor, so they are also appointed by the president. Chief election commissioner of India, yes, who looks after all the affairs of elections, right from declaring date till you can say declaring the result. All the work is seen by election commission. So that election commissioner, that officer is also appointed by the president. Then the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Decisions regarding war and peace are made by the president. Yes, my dear students. Army, Navy, Air Force, three important organs of our defense system, of our defense force. So the head of all these three departments, which is also known as the commander-in-chief, is the president of our country. Yes, so the president is commander-in-chief of our armed forces, and the decision regarding declaring a war against any country, or you can say making peace, are made by the president. Then the president has some judicial powers too. For example, the president has the power to reduce the punishment, grant a respite, or commute a sentence of a person, or in special circumstances grant pardons or reprise on humanitarian grounds. Yes, my dear students, so many such grievances are there. We can say some decisions which are taken by the courts. If the victim, if the convicts, they pass or they appeals for president for you can say reducing their punishments, then the president thinks on it, and if he feels that the victim, or you can say the convict, is innocent, or due to some grounds, some humanitarian ground, on terms of humanitarianism, he may reduce the punishment. Yes, this right also our president has. Next, president has the power to declare emergency in case of a crisis situation arising in the country. So if suppose our country face any kind of problem, you can say natural calamities are there, external aggression are there, wars are there, in any such situation, the president has the right to declare emergency in our country. There are three kinds of emergencies, and emergency are of how many kinds? Three kinds. First, national emergency, second, state emergency, and third, financial emergency. So regarding these emergencies, president has the right to declare it. In the absence of the president, his functions are carried out by the vice president. The vice president is elected by members of both the houses. Yes, suppose if president is, you can say, out of our country on some tour, or he is busy some in other work, then who looks after the office? Vice president. And vice president is also indirectly elected. We citizens won't elect vice president. He is also elected in the same manner. You can say elected members of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and states, you can say legislative assembly and legislative council members elect the vice president, like president only. Next, we will see prime minister and the council of ministers. The president is the constitutional head. However, in reality, his powers are nominal, and the prime minister, along with his council of ministers, is responsible for the administration. So before this point only we understood that how president, though he is his honor, his importance is very much, no doubt, but he is constitutional head, and prime minister and other council of ministers are executive head. So they, you can say, complete, they are responsible for all the administration of the country. We will now see the role and functions of the prime minister. Yes, my dear students. So being prime minister of a nation, what are the different roles and functions of him? We will see now. The party which attains a majority in elections nominates their leader as the prime minister. The council of ministers is then formed of trustworthy colleagues from within the party. The prime minister and the council of ministers must be member of parliament. So as I have told, after the general elections, the party which wins the majority seats in Lok Sabha, from among them, prime minister is, you can say, elected. One member is elected as prime minister. Then he, that is prime minister, you can say, appoints the council of ministers in their own party, his trustworthy colleagues, whom he believes that they can work under him in well organized manner. He selects such ministers and they will become the council of ministers. In case they are not members, they are required to get elected to the parliament within 6 months of their appointment. The prime minister may also appoint or elect ministers who are not member of parliament as a council of minister, but after that, within 6 months, those members should become the member of parliament. Yes. The government is, in reality, is run by the prime minister and the council of ministers. This means that the real executive powers are vested in the prime minister and the council of ministers. So as told earlier, my dear students, in reality, who runs the government? Prime minister and his council of ministers. That's why he is known as the executive head, and our president is known as the constitutional head. Now we will see some of the functions of the prime minister. First, the foremost task of the prime minister is to form his council of ministers. While doing this, the prime minister gives priority to trustworthy colleagues while considering their administrative experience, governance, skills, efficiency and technical expertise. So after election, the party who wins the majority seats, from among them one member is elected as prime minister. Now immediately the responsibility of prime minister starts. First of all, he has to make his team, that is, he has to appoint his council of ministers, and here he will give chance to those ministers who are more experienced, who are his close colleagues, who are trustworthy of the party, who has knowledge in this field. So he will give preference to such ministers and he will make them as council of ministers. Second, after deciding upon the members of the council of ministers, the prime minister allocate portfolios to them. Yes, after selecting them, the team is made, council of ministers are being selected. After that, the next thing prime minister will do is he will give them portfolios, that is, he will give them responsibilities. One or more than one department also he may give for a particular minister, that he has to take the responsibility of that. That is known as giving of portfolios. Next, the prime minister leads the council of ministers. The prime minister chairs all the meetings of the council of ministers. So all the council of ministers, yes, they work under prime minister. So above them, yes, the whole responsibility of this council of ministers is of prime minister. He will check them whether they are working properly or no. He will preside over the meetings from time to time, whenever necessary. He will take the meetings of this council of ministers. He will check whether they are working properly or no. He will check the departments which are been given to them, whether they are working in their departments, whether coordination is there or no among them. Everything will be seen by him because he is the head of all the council of ministers. Next, after allocation of portfolios, the prime minister has to maintain coordination in the working of various departments, facilitate cooperation amongst the departments, supervise the working of these departments in order to maintain efficacy and efficiency, etc. So as I have told just now, students, after giving them portfolios, after giving them particular department, now the responsibility of prime minister again it increases. Yes, from time to time he has to check whether all the ministers are working properly, whether they are handling their departments in a proper way, systematic way, and all the council of ministers, whether they are, you can say, working in coordination with each other or no. Yes, that is also very important, because though departments are different, still these ministers, these council of ministers has to work in coordination with each other. Yes, they should help each other, they should solve the problem of other department also if necessary, if needed. So prime minister will look after them, whether they are working properly or no, with efficiency, whether they are taking their responsibilities, whether they are playing their role in a proper way. All this is checked by him. Next, the prime minister also has various other responsibilities, such as to raise the image of the country in the international arena and work towards achieving a favorable opinion globally, to develop trust among people, and to provide strong support to people who are victims of any disaster, etc. Yes, my dear students. So other than these responsibility, prime minister has other responsibilities also, many responsibilities. For example, he has to do tours of the country. You can say he has to make treaties with other nations. He has to raise, he has to, you can say, maintain the name of our country in, you can say, internationally among various nations of the world. Yes, he should raise our credit, he should raise our, you can say, the name of our country in various departments. Then if our country faces any problems, natural disasters, yeah, then his responsibility increases to look after them, you can say, to give them whatever things are necessary favorably. He should provide them, he should look after all these, you can say, necessary things which are needed by our country. He should support all these people. Now next we will see, that is, functions of council of ministers. What are their function now? Number one, In a parliamentary form of government, the Council of Ministers takes initiative in the process of lawmaking. Yes, my dear students. So we have parliamentary form of government. As we know, we make different laws, rules, regulations. So here the process is started by these Council of Ministers. They take the initiative. They are in the forefront of in the process of lawmaking. The scheme, policy plans, etc. are drafted and discussed and then introduced in the House. The Council of Ministers discusses important questions before making a decision. So, whatever bill they have to pass, whatever rule they have to bring about, first it is discussed, rough draft is made, discussion takes place, then it is brought in the house, and after bringing in the house, after that also discussion takes place. They have to explain why they are bringing this bill, what is the intention behind making this rule, regulation, and all that. Next, education, agriculture, industry, health, foreign relations, among others, are subjects upon which the Council of Ministers has to decide specific policies or direction of work. Yes, my dear students, various departments are there like agriculture, education, industry. So, you can say they are the subjects upon which the Council of Ministers has to decide specific policies or direction. They should take initiative that what could be done in these departments for their progress. Yes, for their development, they should bring about new policies, new plans, so that they can work smoothly. The parliament needs to be taken into confidence about the policy decision taken by the government. Yes, these Council of Ministers should take the other all the members of parliament into confidence regarding what laws, what bills they are bringing about, what new policies, about their ideas. Yes, unless and until they take all the members of the parliament into confidence, they cannot pass the bill, you can say, very easily. So that's why it is necessary. Therefore, the ministers of the respective departments lay their policy plans in the house to bring about a discussion on it. So whatever their ideas are there, their plans are there, they bring about in the house, discussion takes place, then only the things can be, you can say, bring into force. After this, implementation of policy is the foremost responsibility of the Council of Ministers. Once the Parliament approves the laws, the Council of Ministers implements them. Yes, my dear students, new rules are brought about, bills are made. After bringing them, once it is passed, the most important thing is implementation. Yes, as soon as it is passed, the minister have to implement it as early as possible and look after it whether it is working properly or no. So this is the main responsibility of them. Now we will see how does the parliament keep a check over the executive. Means in parliament all members are there. It is not that only the majority party who won the election, they are only there. No, the opposition parties are also there, independent members are also there. So it consists of all the members of the parliament. Now, how parliament keep a check over the executive, that is prime minister and the council of ministers, that we will see here. In a parliamentary system of government, the legislature tries to keep control over the executive, that is the council of ministers. Yes, my dear students, so all the members of the parliament, they keep a check over them. How they are going to keep a check over the executive, that is council of ministers, that we will study. The control is exercised in the law making or policy making process, implementation of policies, and even after that a few ways of exercising control are. Yes, my dear students, first of all, law making processes are there. There also they can keep a check over them. Then policy making process, implementation of policies, and other than this, again some, you can say, ways are there through which they can exercise control over them. First one, discussions and debates. Debate and discussion among the members of the house are an integral part of the law making process. Any law which has to be brought about, First, discussions and debate takes place in the house. Unless and until discussions and debate takes place, the bill cannot be passed and it cannot become a law. So first of all, the bill is brought about, then discussion takes place in the parliament, election takes place regarding that bill, whether it should be passed or no. Then you can say opposition parties, they bring about the faults in them and they tell the government to change some of these, you can say, bills, and it goes on in that way. These debates and discussions help the members to scrutinize the policy, proposals, and laws and point out the shortcomings. These discussions are essential for creation of healthy laws. Yes, my dear students. So whatever bills are brought about, first discussion take place on them, and it is very important. Unless and until discussion takes place, then the members will not come to know whether they are proper or no, whether they are favorable for the citizens, whether they are in interest of the citizen or no. So whatever shortcomings are there, faults are there in that bill, they will tell about them and they will ask the ministers, council of ministers, to make a change in them. In this way, the laws which will be made will be healthy laws. Second, question R. During parliamentary sessions, the proceedings of the house begins with questions asked by the members of the house. So we can see that when parliamentary sessions are going on, how the proceeding starts? The proceeding starts of the house by, yes, it's begin with asking questions. Yes, by the members of the house. The concerned ministers are supposed to give satisfactory answer to these questions. So the members who are asking the question to the specific department, that minister of that department should give a satisfactory answer to the parliament. Yes, he is not giving answer to that only the person who is asking the question, but he is giving the answer to the whole parliament. So it should be satisfactory, yes, and you can say it should be logical. Question R is one of the most effective ways of keeping a check over the council of ministers. Yes, my dear students. So due to question R, the parliament has a good opportunity to keep a check on the council of ministers regarding how they are working, what decision they are taking, etc. During question R, members criticize the government and ask questions on various issues. Sometimes when a member is not satisfied with the answer of the minister, arguments take place. Yes, these discussions, these asking of question is nothing but they are clearing their doubts. So they ask about various issues, their rules, regulations, whatever they bring about, and the concerned minister, the respective minister should give the answer. But many times it happened like that the person, the minister who had asked the question, he is not satisfied with the answer which he gets from that particular minister. So at such time argument takes place. Occasionally members walk out of the house or enter into the well of the house and give slogans to record their protest. And what happened? Some members, they, for showing that they are unhappy, they just do walk out. They go out of the parliament or they come in the well that is made near the speaker, the chair of speaker. They enter there, start giving slogans, yes, to show their protest, to show that they are not happy with the answers given by the respective ministers. Next we are going to study, students, is 0R. During the parliamentary sessions, the period around 12 noon is called 0R. Yes, parliamentary session is going on in the parliament. When it is 12 noon, it is known as a 0R. Now what is speciality here? During this period, any question of public importance can be raised and discussed. Yes, during 0R, after 12 noon, what will happen? Yes, what is importance of this session? That any issues, any questions, any problems which are related to common people, public importance, they are raised and such questions are asked to the ministers. Now, last point is no confidence motion. This is one of the most effective ways to keep a check on the council of ministers. Yes, my dear students, no confidence motion is the most important one. We will try to understand how it functions, what are its procedure. See here, the government stays in power till it enjoys the support of majority in the Lok Sabha. All of us we know yeah, that the government is there, the government can work up till when it, you can say, enjoys the support, maximum support of the member of Lok Sabha. If the members of parliament withdraw the support, it may lead to loss of majority and the government cannot stay in power. And suppose the members, if they not support the government, if they withdraw their support, then the government will come in danger. Then yes, it may lead to lose the majority and the government will not stay in power now. Yes, the government will collapse now. The members of the House can move a no confidence motion by simply expressing we do not have confidence in the government. And how this motion is passed? Any member, yes, he can raise, he can express that we do not have confidence in the government. By telling this, the motion is passed. Then election takes place and the procedure is done. Then the voting is seen. If majority of the members say that they don't have confidence in the government, then only the government will collapse. Yes. If the motion is passed with majority support, then the Council of Ministers has to resign. That same thing. If maximum members are telling that they don't have confidence in the government, then the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers have to resign. There is an extensive bureaucracy that works under the executive. We will study this bureaucracy in 6th chapter. Yes, my dear students. So, under executive bureaucracy, that is various bureaucrats are there, officers are there. How they work, what are their role, what is their function, all this we will see in 6th chapter. Okay. Hope you have understood till here. Thank you very much.